Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Westworld Season 4, Episode 4, Generation Loss. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. I'm a couple of videos away from 950 videos, so it's got a lot to choose from. If you like what you see up there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, and just feel like gambling too, because YouTube may or may not notify you, can hit that bell down below and it may or may not notify you. But you can always go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. All right. Let's get to it, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Give you enough time to hit pause, whatever you need to do. All right. So, we were talking about theories last time around. Honestly, I can't remember the name of the person who was in here. I'm blanking on the name. I'm sorry. I know you came up with the theory about that Bernard was in the future and that was Frankie that was all grown up, and you were correct. So, yes, Frankie or C is actually Frankie in the future, 23 years in the future to be a matter of fact. And Caleb's dead. Yeah. But he's been made into a host, and Hale has basically just been fucking with him this entire time, has been trying to, and get a baseline on him and make him loyal and making him relive his last day over and over and over and over and over again 278 times, as a matter of fact. And Maeve had sacrificed herself, hopefully to take out the Man in Black, and well, the host version of the Man in Black anyway. And Bernard actually knows where Maeve was buried, and that is the weapon that they've been looking for in the future, because Hale has won. Yeah. Her little goo stuff, her parasites, her black goo, works really, really well on children, to the point where they actually grow in symbiosis with this parasite in their head, and she's taken over the world essentially at this point. Yeah, and pretty much we're all fucked is what's going on. And it's again 23 years in the future. So if you start doing the calculations, I think um we were at either 2047 or 2053. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was 2053. So now we should be at 2076, I think is where we're at. Somewhere in that neighborhood, somewhere around there. Um, and yeah, so the world that we see that Christina slash Dolores is living in is actually this future world that, no pun intended, because again, this is based off the Future World movie that was the sequel to Westworld in the 70s. And Christina is a writer for Olympiad, which we saw Caleb running out of Olympiad, as a matter of fact. Once he finds out that he's a host, and not a real boy anymore. And yeah, so we know that she's actually a writer at Olympiad. Again, Rehoboam is the consistent thing that's going on here. We actually saw at the very beginning of this episode, we saw what happened at the lighthouse, uh, where Caleb and Maeve had taken down the last of Rehoboam, and where he got injured, almost severe. And again, I'm still on the fence about whether or not Caleb is actually a human or not. Um, that whole thing where it looked like he was dead anyway at the end of season 3, and I'm still not convinced that Caleb did not die and that Maeve had already turned him into a host to begin with. I don't know. That again, that's what the nature of the show is. We don't know what's real. We don't know what isn't. We don't know who's human. We don't know who's a host. So, yeah, I'm still on the fence about Caleb actually having been a human anyway, and maybe Hale was just using the host body, his host body, and just trying to reprogram him all this time and get rid of Maeve's programming. And maybe that's what's been going on all this time, and we just don't know. There's just too many things that are weird about this season. I mean, yes, we're having the whole Sweetwater storylines play all over again. We're having the same plot lines being used over again. We even have the whole thing with Maeve's daughter looks a lot like Caleb's daughter, Frankie. And I don't know, there's just too many coincidence of cyclical things that are going on. And if you watch the after show right after the credits with Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, they say they love fucking with people. Jonathan Nolan especially just said, "We love fucking with the audience." And again, I don't know what's real and what isn't at this point, and who's human and who isn't. Other than Maeve, we know Maeve is a host, obviously, and Bernard, of course, and Stubbs. But other than that, and Teddy, obviously. Teddy has also made a return in this as well. And he is hooked up with Christina slash Dolores. And of course, he ends up doing the whole Sweetwater thing where well, in this case, her lipstick rolls towards him and he picks it up and, brings it back to her. We have that whole storyline happening all over again. And we haven't figured out what his name is because he hasn't said what his name is. He's the date that Maya had hooked Christina up with, but we don't get his name. Just that they feel very familiar with each other. And yeah, obviously Teddy still knows that she's actually Dolores at this point. And I still want to say that Dolores had absorbed a lot of Rehoban, and Hale is using her to write humans' lives because she had a lot of the Rehoban code in her. Remember when she hooked into Rehoban and into her arm? So in the end of season 3. So yeah, I'm fairly sure Hale is using Dolores at this point for that. Yeah, and I don't know. There's just a lot of again inconsistencies in all of this, and we have unreliable narrators once again is what we have going on. And but the thing is, I'm actually enjoying this. I really am. Um, Even though yes, we're being fucked with quite a bit, but I'm still liking it. How about you guys? There's one person out there. I know there's one person out there. How about you? You guys enjoying this so far or no? I mean, it's moving a lot faster than seasons 2 and 3. I mean, we're getting a lot more answers a lot more quickly as well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying this, but again, like I said, we just have too many unreliable things going on. I could honestly watch a lot of Bernard and Stubbs. I don't know why it's actually a good duo with Jeffrey Wright and Luke Hemsworth. Um, they play well off of each other, and again, I could see a buddy cop. Uh, set in the future, a buddy cop show done with those two, and they're fighting host crimes and whatnot, and taking down humans and whatnot. I think that would actually be fairly interesting. But what about you guys out there? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Well, in that case, What else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be off. I know normally I would have an is it worth my time, but is it worth my time is going to Wednesday, and I'm going to do is it worth my time Resident Evil season 1. That's right. Resident Evil the series that's on Netflix season 1. That's what I'm going to be showing on Wednesday. Thursday I'm going to be off. Yeah, Thursday I'll be off. Friday is going to be a special. I don't know what I'm going to be calling that. It's kind of going to be like a Saturday morning blast off only on Friday night, and it's going to be talking about what's going on so far in Comic Con because Comic Con, of course, is this week. I'm not going to be there, of course. One, I didn't get a ticket for the 2020 Comic Con, I think is what it was. And I also did not get a press pass for this time around either. So I'm, not there. And also, the COVID BA5 variant is really, really taking off right now. And honestly, I'm glad I'm not there. So, yeah. Those of you who are going, good luck. Mask up. Hopefully, you've got that second booster shot going on too. And remember, wash your hands frequently and wash your ass in the morning. Um, but yeah, on Friday, I'll be talking about that. Saturday, I'll be off. And then Sunday will be the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week. Most likely, it's all going to be Comic Con related. And we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, we roll back around to Monday with Westworld. Yeah, sorry I had to bail on yesterday's podcast. I just, again, I had a lot of stuff going on here. Um, Yeah, little dog had a little bit of surgery on her back. Nothing major. It's just a minor thing. She had a little bump removed from her back. So just making sure she wasn't chewing on stitches, that kind of thing. Yeah, right now she's hanging out in front of the fan, is what she's doing because it's fucking hot. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Jasmine. Jasmine Mason, welcome aboard. Yeah, I haven't seen you before, so I normally, we have new people coming in, but yes, welcome. Again, I liked this episode. I really did. And again, we had a lot of movement forward, but also a lot of questions as to how all this has become. One of the other things I noticed too about this episode is there are no children and there are no old people. Two of the things we weren't seeing in this city that Hale has put together. Also, of course, she has the gigantic tower that's offshore, I guess you could say, from the city. And that's the thing that's going to be controlling all these people. The only old person, I guess you could say, who wouldn't fit the 23-year-old demographic, somewhere around there, the 20s, um, let's say anywhere from 20s to 30s demographic, where Hale would have, would have been able to take over children, was the old guy that was outside that was talking about he could hear the towers, that the birds could hear the towers. And yeah, we also know we got to see that in action as well. That, of course, the hosts can hear the towers, but humans cannot. At least they can't perceive it. So that was fairly interesting as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens next week, and hopefully we get some more answers. And Maeve, of course, is going to be coming back from the dead, if you will. So we'll get all that going on. Oh, well, not too shabby now. Let's hope they don't shit the bed. They're not going to shit the bed, serious. I don't think so. Jasmine Mason says, if it's like a disease, I wonder if a pandemic happened in story would have taken quite a lot of elderly out. So they did mention the pandemic, Jasmine. I don't know if you remember the Man in Black when he was talking to a group of investors, and of course this was the 23 years before. They talked about a pandemic, and that was the only mention. But I'm wondering if there was maybe a war and that Hale used the children against the adults and did it that way. Yes, in the moment it did come off as a COVID reference, but I'm fairly sure that is a coy thing that Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan are doing. And again, like I said, they love fucking with the audience. Jonathan Nolan's from straight from his mouth. He loves fucking with the audience. So Sirius says, but in retrospect, it was probably the flies. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah, because Hale was saying that even the adults, since their minds had already been set, that the disease, the pathogen, didn't take over and as completely as it would for children. Sirius says also, I take it back. Dolores isn't in future world. William is. I still say Dolores is as well because of I don't know if you saw the trailer for next week. Um, Stubbs and the new dude, um, who is C's boss, I guess you could say. Um, the Asian guy now, I can't remember his name. I'm looking at he's not in there, of course. They don't have him in there. But he and Stubbs are actually in Dolores's area, I guess you can say. Oh, Caleb, yes. Okay. I think Caleb now is in Future World, but as a host. Yeah. And also, is Caleb's body still alive? Kind of like what they did with William, where she's just got him on ice, if you will, and pulls him out of the freezer every now and then just to kind of gloat at him. Sirius says Dolores might be my best guess is in a sort of simulation like what all the hosts entered at the end. You're talking about the I'm looking at it right now. The Sublime. No, because Hale is always trying to get into the Sublime. So that's the whole thing. That's her whole deal is she actually wants access to the Sublime and she can't get access to the Sublime. Sirius says that may be where people's minds are after Hale takes over. That's why her roommate has the dream of the flies. No, I think her roommate had the dream of the flies because when she was a kid, she got taken over by the flies and then she killed her parents and doesn't remember it now because Hale removed that memory or tried to remove that memory and it just comes back as a dream. So that's what I got out of that was that Maya actually was taken over by the flies and killed her parents, and then Hale made her forget about it, but it comes back in a dream. Yes, she's in the physical world. Yeah. Jasmine Mason says, I think Dolores is in the real world, but they are all programmed not to see the tower. Exactly. Otherwise, how would she not notice it before now? She asked the homeless man what tower. Yeah. And the thing was, he also, the homeless guy who, when she said what tower, he kind of ignored her. And again, I don't think he can say anything because, again, Hale's influence is still there. He's fighting against it, but he can't say anything. Yeah. Then we still got to explain pyro. It might be that some people every now and then, even though they've grown up with this parasite in their head, children, maybe they see, they break through and see reality for a second and then they realize they're being controlled. Kind of like Maya with the dreams, and she's remembering things from the past. And that's probably what's going to be the first precursor to her remembering everything, kind of like the dude who jumped. Yeah. Um, Jasmine says, it doesn't look like anything to me moment. Possibly. Yeah. Um, Yes, Dolores is writing more stories for Hale, is what she's doing. Again, she has the Rehoboam code in her, and she is able to do what Rehoboam was doing for humans all along, which was deciding their fate. And that's what Dolores is doing, is writing the fate using Rehoboam's code to control the humans. Yes. So that Hale doesn't need to think about it, because Hale is too busy trying to get into the sublime. And I think she might need Caleb in order to do it. Oh, you know why? Because Caleb had the implant in his mouth, which Maeve used to give him a taste of what the sublime was like when Maeve had gone to the sublime with her daughter. There you go. And so she's trying to break him down so that she can get access through Maeve's leftover programming, if you will. And that's the access point, if you will, to the sublime. That's the reason why Caleb is still left alive by Hale instead of just outright killing him. So Sirius says, so now Caleb and Dolores will have to team up. Yep, they will. And now we know how long that Bernard was in the sublime. He was in the sublime for 23 years. So actually longer, because he went in when Caleb was starting the war with Rehoboam, or near the end of the war. So that was 30 years. He was in the sublime for 30 years. And as Akacheta said, was that minutes in the real world were eons in the sublime. So again, it supports my theory that Bernard was in the sublime for millions, maybe even billions of years, and was able to play out so many different, combinations of things. Uh, you don't know who Akacheta is? Akacheta is uh, the Indian, the Native American guy that was sitting with Bernard in the chair and talking about him. He was you know, so that is who Akacheta is. Siri says, you and I realized that Caleb and Dolores were the next team up. Yeah, the one that Ford met. Exactly. Yeah. So Akacheta basically became the gatekeeper to the sublime, is what he became. And not even really the gatekeeper, more as the doorman, if you will. And not even that really. He's just there to kind of usher in new hosts that make their way in, as long as they are benevolent. So yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Yes, you should probably remember him, because he is going to be he'll come back again at some point, once we go move some stuff into the sublime. But yeah, this is actually it's weird territory, and I kind of like it though. I mean, we have both a really highly regimented society that is being controlled uh, by AI, if you will. Um, at the same time that you have a bunch of humans that are free range humans, if you will, and are living free out in the desert, Mad Max style, where the flies can't live. And they are trying to fight against the system, fight against power, man. But they're living in the same, time frame. And now it looks like we're all in the same time frame. Yeah. Well, no, I knew that they were going to the dig site as soon as Bernard's like right over that ridge, and I'm like, oh, that's where the detonation happened. So you're saying Dune looked like it was filmed in an excavation pit, in a demolition site? Serious? I can see that. Yeah. I kid, I kid. Um, Stubbs, it made me laugh that Stubbs was taken hostage. Oh man. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I wanna see more of Bernard, you know, predicting the future kind of stuff, 'cause, I thought that was actually interesting as well. So, uh, yeah. Oh, Stubbs always gets screwed over. Yes, he does. Yeah. He's the littlest Hemsworth after all, so of course he's gotta get screwed over all the time. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the rest of the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, all those nasty, nasty videos, and they try to match them to one of my nasty videos and pop it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule. I change it out every week. I just changed it out today. And there's also all the links to my social media and all the links to my pages there as well. All right. With that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the night. Thank you, everyone. It has been an interesting chat. We have gone through a lot of things there. Jasmine says I'm gonna rewatch this. So far an exciting season. Thank you, Jasmine. Come on by again. It's nice having you here. And like I said, this is pretty much what I like doing. I like talking about this episode and working it out as we are going through this. Uh, I mean that's pretty much what I do here. Is I just talk it out and talk with people in the chat, and we kind of go through this together. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Wednesday. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out that you're a host and you're the 278th version of yourself because Hale is doing a loyalty test and she's trying to get some baseline off of you. But you don't remember all that stuff because, again, she's reset you so many times. Anyway, it's a whole big process. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Wednesday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care. Wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, get the boosters as well because they don't work without the boosters. And stay safe, especially if you're going out to Comic Con there. Thanks, everybody. Fidelity. That's what it is. The fidelity test. Thank you, Jasmine. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Wednesday. Have a good rest of your night. Stay safe out there and take care, everyone. Thanks. Good night.